Hi friends, hope you all are doing well. I just thought of making one more video since you all have so many questions regarding nakshatras in due to my yesterday's video upload. So I just thought I just do one more regarding it. I'm going to give you at least one compatibility nakshatra with all the nakshatras, like for each nakshatra at least one compatibility nakshatra, which I'm very sure of, but my research is still it will take some time. Some nakshatras are left, like Uttarshada. uh, Uttarshada people are normally loners, and it is very difficult for them to settle down because they are not supposed to. They are supposed to be alone. But still, I'm trying to find, like, it cannot be like this that none of the Uttarshada people ever get married or they don't have love relationship. So I'm still researching on that nakshatra. Also, few other nakshatras. So this is one of the things. Second thing, many of you say that I have to make a sequel to it, or I have to make it like I must what make it a series and all that. I know you all like my video, those who are following me, those who are my subscribers who love me. But the thing is, due to my family situation, like my husband's health is sensitive, almost every alternate weekend, or like sometime one whole week he's not well, so that time I can't work. So I don't want to commit myself to something which I'm not able to do properly. It becomes my responsibility when I decide that okay, I'm going to make a series of it, like weekly I'll upload, or every fortnight I will upload. But suppose if I'm not able to do it, then it's not good. This is why also many of you come to me for asking, like, if I want to teach, or if I'm teaching, they want to join my classes. But this is the reason why I am not starting to teach, because my first priority is my family. And since I'm not able to uh, balance the situation, this kind of situation, like I can take classes also, I can make more regularly the videos and can upload them every now and then on regular basis. I can't do it, and I can also look after my family at the same time. So that's why I just have a very laid back attitude. I hope you all understand that. So another thing, someone asked me about Bhrigu Bindu, how important it is. Bhrigu Bindu is the midpoint between Rahu and Moon. Basically, it is the meeting point of two energies, Moon and Rahu, and the this point is going to tell us that whether there is a good relationship between Rahu and Moon, or there is a bad relationship between Rahu and Moon, depends on the situation of Bhrigu Bindu. This is one of the things. Now, Moon speaks about our past life karmas. Moon basically has all the Moon has all the information regarding our past karmas. It carries forward all the info, like Akashic records, and 12th from Moon we can see a lot of things. So Moon is the source of our all the information regarding our past life, and also what karmas we have to settle in this life. Rahu and Ketu axis does the same. Rahu and Ketu axis is wherever it is telling us about our fixed destiny, which can't be changed. Where it is Nagpash, which is controlling us. The Nagpash, Rahu Ketu axis is our Nagpash. Wherever it is our controlling our that destiny for sure. So when what I was saying, yeah. So when Rahu and Moon comes together, the whatever, whether it's a good destiny or a bad destiny, it is definitely going to happen. We no amount of remedy can help. And the same way, when Rahu and Moon will go away from each other, they don't like each other, there is no good situation between them, no matter how much we do the remedies, we will not get the results. So this Bhrigu Bindu, this destiny point, tells us that, that's why it is between Rahu and Rahu and Moon. So this is one of the things. Some people have Rahu and Moon combination. So those people, basically Rahu is all about our desires. It is all about karmas related to this life. Ketu is from past, but Rahu is about this life. So when they come together, we see a warrior, we see someone who never gave up, we see someone who is a very strong individual. So Bhrigu Bindu also comes there. When Rahu and Rahu and Moon conjunction, Bhrigu Bindu is also there only. So basically that's a very strong inevitable destiny. If it is good or bad depends on the alignment. But of course when Rahu Moon comes together, there is definitely some kind of trauma soul has to go through. Depends on which nakshatra it is, in which house it is, in which sign it is. But Rahu gives lot of strength to Moon, makes Moon a very headstrong warrior. When Moon and Ketu comes together, that is worse, because Moon is all water, emotions. Ketu is all fire, smoke, dhua, smoke. So basically it burns, Ketu burns the Moon, it dries up the Moon. So the situation is worse. Rahu does create fog, fog-like situation, like confusions, doubts, dilemma for Moon. But still, Rahu with Moon is much better conjunction than Moon with Ketu. This is what I understand. So far, I have come to this realization after studying this combination in so many charts. So this is one of the things. Now, another thing is, wherever Ketu is in our chart, it always gives us one break, one loss, at least one, minimum one. But definitely, that kind of loss or that kind of wound which will not be healed, which will always make us suffer, which is there for this life, which is going to be there for this life, which will not where no healing will ever take place. It is going, Ketu means when we will go towards the vacuum, towards the black hole, towards the point of life and death. When we will go through that, it will still, the energy flow will still be with us. That energy will go with us through that vacuum, and it will bring it back to life, bring our soul back to physical life. So Ketu is that, Now I have always noticed that every chart has backup plans, what one alignment is going to do. There are other alignments also which are supporting that same destiny. This is why when people do remedies for one alignment, it doesn't work, and it cannot work, Other alignments are there also to back it up. So the same thing is still happen. That's why people say we have done all the remedies, still we are going through the same situation. So basically this is one of the things. Then another thing. Outer planets are divine will. It is also controlled. So wherever there is Neptune, there are going to be issues related to health. There are going to be issues related to deception. Depends on its placement. Wherever Pluto is Rudra, so it is going to give us trauma. It is going to give us some kind of situation where we will suffer a lot. So this is related to that. There are some of the asteroids, which if you will study, like I study asteroids, whether it's our Hindu Vedic asteroids or those are Western asteroids, because knowledge shouldn't be controlled, or we shouldn't limit knowledge. From wherever it is coming, we should accept it. That's why even in modern medicine also, there are so many doctors nowadays, they are seeing the charts, astrological charts of their patients. I know some doctors who are surgeons, who do surgery according to the chart and moon current transit chart. They superimpose on the native chart and then they decide. So from wherever the knowledge is coming, we should see it. So like Chiron, Ceres, Juno, Mandi, Gulika, Dhuma, these all are important asteroids. We must try to see their placement. There are some other also like Cupid and few others also, but I mostly use these asteroids. I think, yeah, these are the ones which I use. I hope I'm not forgetting anything else. Now I have a chart of a person for whom who asked me to say something about his chart. I can use his chart. So if you really see this guy, his destiny point, actually he asked for destiny point, Bhrigu Bindu. His Bhrigu Bindu is in 11th house and it is in Uttarshada Nakshatra. Now Uttarshada Nakshatra is the nakshatra which belong to that group of nakshatras which are about pranjay parvachanajay, about vows. Means you can lose your life but you cannot lose your vow. You, even if you have to die to keep your words, then also you will choose death but you will keep your vow. So this is about that. But his chart indicates he has Venus and Mercury. He has, first of all, he has Pisces Lagan, and his Lagan is Revati Nakshatra Pada 4. So you see, I hope you all can see it properly. I can't give birth details because it is not done. So you people have to make do with this. Okay. So he is, I always tell this person that you must be my guru in previous lifetime, and I feel that he is a very evolved soul. His chart also says the same thing. He has Ketu in 12th in Satabisha, and he has Jupiter in ascendant in Pisces in Purva Bhadrapada. Now Purva Bhadrapada is talking about the intensity of this guru. In previous lifetime it has gone through some kind of trauma, and it is coming in this world to settle this trauma. If you see in his, and this trauma is related to two women. Basically what he said he didn't do, and what he did he didn't say. So basically he made two women suffer in previous lifetime. If you really see his Venus, Mercury and Saturn in second house, one is speaking of his relationship with a girl whom he really loved, whom he wanted to marry, but he didn't marry her because he promised his parents that he will marry the girl of their choice, and that's how he let down both the women. And in this lifetime he has to settle this karma. If you see, he has Dhuma coming in his 7th house of marriage, and he has Chiron in sign Libra in 8th house. Chiron is like higher octave of Ketu, and Chiron is the wounded healer actually. Chiron is also the wound which will never heal, it's like Ketu, it is not going to heal. And this person has two in second house, Venus and Saturn in Ashwini Nakshatra. He's an occultist. I always tell him you should go towards Reiki, Ayurveda, because you have ability to heal people. And if you really see, Chiron in his 8th house is also suggesting the same thing, And Chiron is in Vishakha, it's the star of purpose. It is about the purification of soul, So if he will go towards health and healing of others, he will end up healing a lot of people, because this is his destiny. His Ketu also is in Satabisha in 12th house. So in previous lifetime also he was a healer. So in this lifetime it is his prarabdha that not only he has to settle his karmas with both the women, and basically release from that karmic death of his parents. Leo is 6th house sign, so prarabdha regarding father, so father probably gave his vow to someone that my son will marry your daughter, but he didn't marry her, or after marrying also he left her for other girl. The other girl he didn't marry because he is already married and he is scared of his parents, or he somehow, so basically he couldn't keep his vow. So in this lifetime he has to settle that. So Chiron in 8th house is also talking about bipolar or duality, duality of regarding marriage situation. So in this lifetime he will marry twice, and loss of one partner, which will give him lot of trauma because Dhuma is in 7th house. So if you really study the chart like that, you will understand the karmas and you are carrying forward from previous lifetime, and what you have to settle, and how you have to pacify your planets on the whole. Not that it will not give you their result, but the intensity may reduce. The forgiveness, the karma towards bringing relief to others, help to others, healing to others. Also one more thing, the Chiron, wherever it comes, it gives it also, because Chiron was a wounded healer. So when it comes to 6, 8 and 12, it gives some kind of issue, health issues or something which will not be healed in this lifetime. So I believe remedies for Chiron will help, So this is one of the thing. I hope you like this video. If you do, please like and subscribe, and we will talk about the compatible nakshatras in my next videos. Take care and God bless you. Bye bye.